Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. More and more articles I find with hints and reports talking about negotiations between Ukraine and Russia and the United States trying to elbow Ukraine into going and talking to the Russians, and having Erdogan of Turkey being involved in mediating this peace talks, negotiations. There are some signals that might be approaching such a point. Kuleba, I think Kuleba, not Kuleba. What the hell is his name? Yeah, I think Kuleba was the one who said that he would be willing to consider talking to Lavrov if he would receive an invitation to talk, which is a never heard before statement coming from the Ukrainians. Then we have Erdogan of Turkey, who said that he's going to call Zelensky of Ukraine following days. This was yesterday, so I don't know when it is, Monday, Tuesday, up to Wednesday. That's what that article stated. I made a video on that one, and supposedly Erdogan is going to try to schedule something with Zelensky, and trying to send a message that actually I think the Americans already sent it by Jake Sullivan visiting Kiev a few days ago, 2 days ago or so, and speaking with the Ukrainians all of a sudden. So let's see what's going on here in this article. This article comes from Al Mayadeen. It's an Arab news outlet. U.S. urges Kiev to consider realistic priorities for talks with Russia. That's what these guys claim. So U.S. urges Kiev to consider realistic. I thought those requirements that the Ukrainians put forth were were non-starter, let's put it this way. The Russians do not even look at that, the way they put it. And I think that they are enumerated here at the end of the... No, it's the one that they want reparations, and they want all the territories back, and they want the criminals being punished and so on. Now, let's see. After President Volodymyr Zelensky suggested unrealistic conditions for peace talks, a U.S. nudge is aimed at changing his stance to realistic priorities. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan advised Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to take a quote-unquote realistic negotiating stance in potential talks with Russia, according to the Wall Street Journal. So it must be true. I mean, if it's a Wall Street Journal, what do you expect, right? It must be true. So Sullivan conveyed the message that Zelensky and his officials should formulate realistic demands and priorities for talks, possibly reconsidering their staged goal of restoring control over Crimea during a meeting in Kiev on November 4, according to the diplomats. Zelensky was also advised to reconsider his demand that Putin must be removed from power before such discussions can take place. I think that's another one they couldn't. And even if Putin goes, what if Prigozhin goes? They're fucked. Prigozhin being the boss of Wagner Group. Just listen to what that guy is saying. I think Putin looks and sounds like an angel compared with that guy. Washington, or Medvedev, who's the toughest guy now, in the parking lot. Washington also suggested that Kiev should show openness to the idea of negotiating with Russia in order to gain leverage. Earlier this month, Zelensky laid out the conditions for peace negotiations, with Russia demanding restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity, respect for the UN Charter, compensation for all damage caused by the war, and guarantees that the conflict will not happen again, among other things. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko said Moscow was not putting forward any preconditions for negotiations with Ukraine, but Kiev must show goodwill. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, spokesman, said Russia was open for contacts, but Ukraine has codified the non-continuation of negotiations. Earlier, US President Joe Biden's administration was secretly pressing Kiev to demonstrate a willingness to negotiate with Moscow, according to those familiar with the negotiations. Washington does not want Ukraine to start negotiations with Russia, but rather to ensure Kiev that it has the support of other countries, according to the newspaper. And I'm quoting, "Ukraine fatigue is a real thing for some of our partners," end quote, one US official told the Washington Post. The discussions highlight how complicated the Biden administration's position on Ukraine has become, as US officials publicly pledged to support Kiev with massive sums of aid for as long as it takes, end quote, while hoping for a restoration or of resolution to the conflict that has taken a toll on the world economy and sparked fears of nuclear war over the past 8 months. While US officials agree with their Ukrainian counterparts that Putin is allegedly not serious about talks, for the time being, they acknowledge that President Volodymyr Zelensky's ban on talks has caused concern in parts of Europe, Africa, and Latin America, where the war's disruptive effects on the availability and cost of food and fuel are more acute, according to the Wall Street Journal. It is worth noting that the United States is nudging Ukraine to seriously consider the idea of entering negotiations with Russia this winter to stop the ongoing conflict, as it doubts none of the two parties can achieve all its goals on the battlefield, according to NBC News. Logical as logical, but I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, because the parties that benefit the most out of this right now, the United States of America. Then is the Kiev Four Little Pigs, the kosher Four Little Pigs, Zelensky, Zhmihal, what's his name, Yermak and Yermikov, whatever his name is, Yermikov, Berikov, I can't remember the defense minister, the chief of the army or whatever he is, Reznikov, that's what it is, all four kosher, good, ruling over a Ukrainian nation. So those are doing good. United States is doing good. The military-industrial complex is doing good. The banks are doing good. The energy companies are doing good. The population is doing bad. The economies are doing bad. The Ukrainian nation is fucked up. The Russians are doing bad, at least the ones over there, not the ones in Moscow. The Russian leadership is okay. The second pole of this planet was already forming. So, the European citizens are doing bad. The leaders are still doing okay. They're still in power. So, you see, that's how things are. So, I don't know what's changed now that the United States seemingly, too much heroin or something? My nose itches. Too much. Anyway, so it's just what's changed, or it's just a stage. Like, oh no, we want peace, and actually go. At least they talk about peace negotiations. At least they talk about this winter. And another article that I found, it was another guy who said the chief negotiator of Ukraine said, oh, they will not be negotiating until next year, in the second half of the next year, because the election cycle starts in Russia and United States. What the? Is that what it is? I was very upset, to put it mildly, with that kind of, I was on, the war will not end until the cycle election. Really? Is that what it depends? Yeah, it depends. It depends on that. It seems like. So anyway, I hope they start negotiating, or at least pretend they show up. As I always said, even if the communication is not working fine, even if the whatever I bring on the table doesn't coincide with what you bring on the table, even if you don't find any common denominator, the fact that we sit in front of one another and we talk, that's fantastic. Well, that's not happening so far since March. I don't know yet the Brits what they say about it. I'm pretty sure the French are yeah. Olaf Scholz is in the bathroom doing something with a monkey, if you know that expression, and all that. They're all celebrating. So I don't know about the Brits. What are they doing? I don't know. Their new prime minister or whomever the interests are over there in Great Britain, Wallace, Bill Wallace or whatever, Ben Wallace, Minister of Defense, if he's okay with that or not. But if the United States says stop, everything is going to stop. If they say go, everything will go, sooner or later. So that's it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.